Before we begin, please click the like button and comment Amen to help my channel. I really appreciate it. Someone, or something, is pretending to be a cat on my front porch at night. I've been living in rural Ohio for about the last year. Since moving in with my husband, I've become what some would call the crazy cat lady of our neighborhood. It's not that I have a lot of cats. It's that I feed and befriend every stray I come across. Living in the country means you are surrounded by wildlife. Deer, mice, skunks, rats, bats, raccoons, possums, and, you guessed it, cats. Humans are terrible creatures sometimes. They have a habit of taking in animals they can't handle, then quickly changing their minds when things get too hard. When that happens in the city, most people drop their new pets off at a local shelter. Here in the country, they just throw them outside. If those unloved fur balls aren't fixed, they team up and make more of themselves. If I had to guess, our small town alone has about 50 strays. I would guess I have made friends with around 15 of them in the past year. I leave food on my front and back porch for them every night. I brush the more friendly ones, and I've even kidnapped a few for a day to take them in for vaccines. I can't adopt them all, but I want to try and make life a little less hard for all these guys. Lately, something strange has been happening though. I have a tendency to stay up late. My husband started working the night shift about a year ago, and it's hard to get used to sleeping in an empty bed. Since we moved for his job, I have developed a case of separation insomnia. I only really sleep well on his days off. I work the average 7 to 3 shift. When I get home, I try to clean the house, tend to our pets, indoor and outdoor, and make dinner, breakfast for him to eat before work. During this time, my husband Jake is fast asleep. He sleeps just fine without me, lucky bastard. Sometimes I nap with him after I make dinner, and he wakes up around 9 p.m. to get ready for work. Once he's gone, I tend to just turn on the TV and game to pass the time until I have to get myself ready for work. Jake and I pass like ships in the night. It's hard to manage sometimes, but we are working toward buying the house we are currently renting. After this past week, though, I hope he can be convinced to relocate. About 6 days ago, I was in the living room watching a show about hoarding when I heard something big dragging across our porch. It was around 11 p.m., and Jake had literally only been at work for an hour at this point. Sounds on our porch weren't unusual. There was a cat buffet out there. But whatever had made this sounded bigger than a cat. Its weight was closer to that of a dog, or even a person. I paused the television and waited in the silence for it to happen again. My dog Bella slept soundly at my feet. Nothing happened. Our front door leads straight into our living room. There are 2 huge windows that never seem to be completely covered by the curtains, and our couch sits right below those windows. I try to arrange the curtains to the part of the window that isn't covered, is farthest away from my face. If I'm laying on the couch, it's nearest to my feet. I peeked out one of the windows onto the porch and saw absolutely nothing there. So I simply pressed play and kept watching my shows. When the sun came up, nothing was unusual, except the cat food was completely untouched. The bowl on the back porch was empty like I expected. Nothing happened for a few days. Honestly, I had kind of forgotten about the sounds until 2 nights ago. This time, the dragging happened around 2 a.m. I was actually upstairs in our bedroom when I heard it this time. Our bedroom window is right above the porch, and I was shocked to realize I could hear this sound from all the way upstairs. It was far too heavy to be a cat. I muted the TV and listened, slightly nervous. My dog was in the bed next to me listening as well. The dragging continued. It was like someone was dragging their shoes across the wooden porch. Bella started to growl. It was a low, throaty sound I had never heard her make before. The fact that my dog was upset by this made me nervous. I couldn't call Jake until he went on break at 3 a.m. Not knowing what else to really do, I got up from the bed and walked quietly to the window. I opened it about a finger's width and listened for the dragging. Meow. The sound of a cat almost had me laughing with relief. Of course it wasn't a person. Bella had never once growled at a cat on our porch before, but maybe it was because we were all the way upstairs. I wondered if the sound was Toby. He was an orange tabby that was heavier than all the rest of the strays. He had a few other houses on the street feeding him. The dragging continued. Even Toby didn't seem to be that heavy. For almost 15 minutes, something dragged across my porch from one end to the other repetitively. Then, it stopped completely. Bella stopped growling and went back to sleep, and I waited nervously to call Jake. He thought it was Toby. "You're tired," he told me. "You're up at night watching TV by yourself. Your imagination is running away from you." That didn't explain why Bella was upset, but maybe he was right. For all I knew, there was a stray cat I didn't know yet putzing around on our porch. The next morning, the cat food bowl was toppled over. None of the food inside was eaten. This all leads me to what happened last night, just a few hours ago. Jake was off work Monday. We spent the night enjoying each other's company and watching movies on the couch. Neither of us heard anything strange. I went to work Tuesday morning on basically no sleep at all. I came home to do my usual routine and threw Jake's work uniform into the laundry. While I waited for it to dry, I made the mistake of falling asleep on the couch. I woke around 2 a.m. to the sound of a cat meowing. Moonlight was streaming through the crack where the curtains didn't fully cover the window by my feet. The television had turned itself off because it was on a set timer. Jake must have gotten ready and left for work without waking me up. Bella lay on the floor beside the couch, and again she was growling. Meow, meow. Bella growled louder at the sound of it. Her hackles were raised, and I could tell she was working her way up to a bark. Dragging again, the thing lumbered across the porch and over to the window. I could see the shape of it blocking out the light where the curtain didn't cover. In that moment, I was sure of two things. The first was, that was not a cat on my porch at all. The second was that whatever was out there was looking into my living room. Meow! This was a damn near perfect cat impression. If I couldn't see the huge, horrifying human-shaped shadow at my window, I might have even believed it. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I couldn't move. Bella jumped to her feet, ran to the side of the window where the shadow loomed, and let out one good ferocious bark. Then she seemed to really see whoever was at the window. She began to tremble and whimper. Meow, the shadow said to her. I was too frightened to move. My dog was whining at my feet, and I couldn't tell if this weirdo on my porch was able to see me laying there or not. After a few moments of silence, a bark resounded through the room. At first, I thought Bella had found her voice again, but she was still shaking at my feet. No sound had come from her mouth. The shadow at the window was mimicking her. I could feel tears start to stream down my face. All I could think about was a question. Had Jake locked the door before he left for work? I don't know how long I laid there crying in silence and fear, listening to this shadowy person meow and bark. When the sun came up around 5 a.m., the shadow shifted. It seemed to slowly drag itself away from the window and off my porch. It's now 6 a.m. as I write this. Bella and I are still shaking. Jake should be getting off work soon. When he gets here, I'm telling him I want to fucking move. When Jake came home yesterday morning, he asked me why the porch was covered in cat food. I had no idea what he meant, so I nervously opened the front door and looked. The entire bowl was flipped over, and bits of crushed cat food were spread across the entirety of our porch. It looked like someone had dumped the bowl out and proceeded to stomp all the food into dusty bits. The cat food on the back porch was completely untouched. I tried to explain everything that had happened while Jake was gone. I guess the idea of a meowing monster tormenting his wife sat very strangely with him, so he pulled up our Ring camera and tried to review the footage taken at around 2 a.m. I was honestly too afraid to watch it. I just waited in silence for him to finish. He definitely looked disturbed by what he saw, but he was clearly not convinced it was a monster. Some teenager must be pulling a fucked up prank on us, he decided. You should move both cat food bowls to the back porch from now on. I argued the idea. What would moving the food do about this dude sitting at our window, meowing like a crazy person? I told him I wanted to leave the house altogether. Jake sighed. You know we can't move right now. All of our money is tied up in this place, and the lease we signed isn't up for another 6 months. Fuck the lease, I said, indignantly. I want to feel safe in my living room without someone or something looking into it. We argued for a bit longer than I want to admit before I had to give up. In the end, he was right. We have nowhere else to go so soon. The nearest hotel is a good hour-and-a-half drive from Jake's machinist job. If I wanted to move that badly, he agreed we would look into places and move once our lease was up. In the meantime, he agreed to get new living room curtains and upgrade us to a Ring doorbell instead of the one we have just sitting inside our living room. The rest of the day was pretty uneventful. I went to work and came home with new curtains. I picked a dark brown shade that let in basically no light. It's a terrible choice for a living room, but it would block out any chance of seeing a shadow at night. I got home to find Bella had not touched her food all day. She was curled up in a pile of clothes in our laundry room sleeping. I tried to let her outside to go potty, and she refused to go out until I went out there with her. While we were out, Toby the orange tabby stopped by for a bite and rubbed on Bella's leg. She seemed to enjoy his affection until he meowed up at her. Then Bella growled at him. That shocked me and Toby both. Bella never growled at Toby before. She has never growled at any cat. Bella loves cats. I took her inside, and she went back to sleep in the laundry room again. I also decided to stop sitting in the living room at night. Before Jake left for work, I gathered everything I would need for food and entertainment before basically locking myself in our room until Jake got home. Bella came with me, of course. I turned the TV up as loud as I could reasonably put it, hoping I would drown out any noise if my night visitor decided to come back. It was once again around 2 a.m. when I heard a faint, dragging sound coming from below. Like I said before, my bedroom is right above the porch. Bella woke up from her comfortable sleep at my side and started shaking. I turned up the TV and hoped I could just wait it out. I could not. After a few minutes, there was a loud bang. Bella whimpered. I reminded myself of what Jake said. It was just some kid playing a prank. I wasn't sure I believed his idea, though. Bang, 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 bang! The noises grew louder. It sounded almost like someone was smacking their hands on the side of my house in frustration. Like the stranger could hear my TV drowning out their intrusion, and that made them angry. I turned the volume louder. Bang, bang! The sound slapped at the old paneling of my house, only getting louder with the TV volume. The force of the hits were shaking my walls. I started to fear this person would try to break into the house if I didn't respond to them. I reluctantly muted my television and crept toward the window. Once again, I only opened it about a finger's width. "Go away." I tried to sound braver than I felt. My dog shook behind me so hard. It reminded me of how she acted on the 4th of July when fireworks went off. There was an eerie silence that followed my demand. I wondered if I had surprised the person by actually speaking to them. All I did was make things worse. "Go away." The voice that repeated me from outside almost made me piss my pants. It sounded garbled and wet, like someone was talking with a mouthful of water. "Go away, go away, go away, go away, go away." Each time it repeated my words, it sounded more like my voice, like it was practicing talking like me. The banging started up again. Bang. "Go away," it mocked. Bang, bang. "Go, bang, bang, bang. Away, aye." A dragging sound. More dragging. The sound dragged its way along the outside of my house, back and forth, until it stopped directly below my window. I wanted to crawl back to the bed and hide myself under the covers like a child. Isn't that always the best way to hide from mom? The sound was rapidly climbing its way up the side of my house, getting louder as it approached. I managed to let go of the window and shove the curtain back in place just before I heard something slap onto glass. I fell back on my ass and stared at the curtain in shock and horror. From the other side of the window, I heard its voice. Meow. I scrambled up from the floor and fucking ran, booking it down the hallway and into the bathroom. Bella ran almost ahead of me as I went. I slammed that door behind us and locked it. I didn't care that I'd left my phone in the bed. All I cared about was that this bathroom had a lock and no fucking windows. Bella and I stayed in that bathroom with the lights on all night long until Jake got home. He wanted to know why I didn't answer when he called me around 3 a.m. on his break. Jake doesn't seem to really believe what I told him. He's treating me like I had some kind of nightmare while he was gone at work. But I know what happened. Something crawled up the side of my house last night and tried to look in at me. Something that slapped at my windows and spoke in my voice. I wasn't asleep, and it wasn't a dream. I know this for a fact, because in the light of day, I went back into that horrible bedroom and looked at that window. I saw the greasy proof that coated the outside of the glass. There's a handprint on it. Aha! You survived the story. Think you can handle how deep, dark, and disturbing the rabbit hole goes? Click on the playlist and let me know in the comments where your breaking point is.